Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, change, and creativity. Find out why coming up. Before we dive into shame, vulnerability, and all things Brené Brown, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Guys, I'm so excited to talk to you about Brené Brown and vulnerability and shame, all of the things. I know that seems countercultural unless you've been really diving into this stuff and watching her stuff on the internet. Then it may seem totally crazy, and vulnerability may be something you want to be thousands of miles away from, but I'm telling you, it is changing my life, and I want to talk about how. So we're starting with the heart pillar of what I'm doing in personal development. Now, this one was probably the easiest to start, but is the hardest one to continue to dive into day after day in my everyday life. I love Brené Brown. I love how she uses research and social interaction to actually give us tools and habits and traits that we can have and keep and cultivate to live more wholeheartedly, to be more vulnerable, to be more brave and generous. I find it amazing how she is able to balance what may be scary with what is valuable and appreciated in society. One of my favorite resources or things that she's compiled through research is what she calls the 10 Guideposts to Wholehearted Living. Now, this is based on years of research as she's looked into shame and vulnerability and all of those things. She has cultivated these things that people who are wholehearted, who live vulnerably, who are brave, things that they just instinctively do, things that they fit into their life, things that they respect and value. So you can check out that anywhere on the internet. I'll leave a link below. There'll also be a link down below to a printable if you want to do that. I did a couple of things with some of her stuff here, just if you want something to kind of print out and put on your wall. So don't forget to stick around to the end and I'll tell you how to get to all of that. There are a couple of things that Brené Brown uses a lot that I think have been really helpful to me personally. One of them is the shame gremlins, this idea that shame is a gremlin, and if you leave it in the dark, it's just going to grow and get bigger. But when you bring it into the light, it's gone. The idea of sharing things that you're struggling with and sharing things that are hard gives you an option for someone else to say, me too, I deal with that. And then that thing doesn't have as much power over you. It's the same way with her explanation of dementors or shame and dementors or shame of depression or shame being something you can contribute to a dementor. When you're stuck in that mode, it's going to suck all of the life out of you, all the light out of you. There's going to be no joy, and that's like the thing you want to be away from. You need that positive thing inside you that helps pull you back out of hard days. She also has the SFD, which I'm going to translate to crappy first draft. This is the idea that we create our own stories based on what someone does. We think we know what they mean when they say something, and it's easier and a lot more helpful, she uses this with her husband, to call those things out and say, hey, the crappy first draft I'm hearing is this. This is what I think you mean. That gives you a mode of conversation to have that connection be solidified and the crap that isn't really there be put out before it has any time to grow root. Another thing that I deal with personally that I think that she is put into a great mode of what she talks about is this inner critic, where we oscillate. We go back and forth between this idea of not being good enough or who do we think we are. So if you think maybe I'm gonna try something and they say, no, I'm not good enough, like I'm crappy, I have no experience, blah, 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 that's gonna debilitate. But if you try to figure it out and go the other way, then sometimes your stupid brain goes to the other opposite end and says, oh, who do you think you are? You think you know so much? And it just creates this no-win situation, when really if we stand solid in our solid sacred ground and like just be rooted to what we know is true, neither side can really take a hold. I find her stuff to be the best for heart things because it's heart things that have some structure. She's based in research, she's based in these studies, and so my heart, you know, you're talking about feelings and emotions, that can go all over the place. It can be a big to-do, and I like the idea of having something that is concrete and structured, and the way that she formulates things does what I need for that. And so for me, I'm working on the Wholehearted Guidepost. I am reading the books and trying to find this balance of having healthy boundaries while also being vulnerable. That's kind of a big deal. So if you've had a chance, have you watched the Netflix show? Comment Brave below if you have. It's totally amazing. It's something you can easily watch with a friend to dive in. If you haven't read Brené Brown, or if they haven't and you want to give them an easy way in, there's some great stuff in there, some really funny stories. She's actually really entertaining, even though she's an introvert. I know it's a lot for her, but it's amazing. It's totally worth watching. That's kind of where I'm going to leave it today. I know that was a little bit of an overview, but that's my heart pillar. It's strictly Brené Brown and what she's doing. So if you go to the link, I'll leave it below. It's oliverway.co/Brené Brown, and then you can get the printables. There's a couple of different things that I made just to give you something that you can print on the wall if you want to look at her guideposts or some of her definitions for some of these things she's been researching. They're really helpful. So that'll all be below. And then let me know which books you've read, which ones you're wanting to read. I'll leave a question over here. So next week we're going to be doing Head, I think, hopefully. So if you want to check out that, then you need to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I will see y'all next time. Bye guys.